Welcome back to my channel for a very special, super exciting Leica episode. And you just saw in that little clip the unboxing of the new Leica Noctilux-M 50mm f/0.95 in a special titanium finish. And that looks darker than the chrome finish you have on my 50mm Noctilux here, which I did shoot a lot in the past. And it's a very beautifully designed lens. It's limited to 100 units worldwide, and I got my unit already about 1 week before the announcement. So I will hold back this video until the 14th of September, which is the point in time where you will very likely see the announcement and also this video. Let's kick this off. Alright, let me give you a download about this new special limited Noctilux 50mm. And if we talk about chemistry, which relates to the finish of this lens, you would very likely talk about a titanium finish. But Leica calls it Titan, and you see this here on the certificate of authenticity. It says Titan, and very likely it's in a double meaning of the word. It's a titanium finish, but this is also a giant lens. It's a lens which stands out from all the other lenses in the Leica lineup. And as I said, I did shoot my 50mm Noctilux in the chrome finish very often in the past and always enjoyed the images. So let's go and let's look at some of these images before I continue to explain and describe to you this brand new lens. Whenever I shot the Noctilux 50mm here in the chrome finish, I avoid having that very expensive, and in this case limited to 100 units, very rare lens cap on top of it. So I put this aside here, and here by the way you have the lens hood, so you just pull this up, you rotate it, and then it's fixed and will not come back. If you want to get it back in, you rotate it and then you push it back. Simple like that. And of course I used on my Noctilux, because even the standard version is super expensive, always a UV protector here. And that's from Leica. I don't have that for the titanium version here, because that color I think is not available in terms of a protector. So I will see what I can do here, but this lens cap here definitely something I will not use. That will immediately go back into the box and will sit there for preserving the value of the lens. Now, in the box at the unboxing, you saw this tiny little box here, and that contains now the same lens cap as what I use for daily shooting here on my Noctilux in the chrome finish. So let's open this up. Let me show this to you. Very simple. That's the standard lens cap from Leica. You see here, this is the same thing as what sits on top of the chrome finish Noctilux, and I can put it here on top, and then it will sit firmly, protect the lens, and I don't have to take this one here, which should not get any scratches, out for a shooting. I can just use the plastic lens cap, which is also replaceable, of course. If that one gets scratches or has signs of use, you just purchase a new one and put it back in the box, and then this lens is fresh, and you don't have wasted this very expensive piece here, which you can put, of course, on top and looks much better. So from an aesthetics point of view, clearly I appreciate that, but daily shooting, no, I go with this one. The same rationale, of course, applies also to the back side of the lens. So here is this one with the titanium finish. Very valuable. I'll put it in the box and keep it there. And for shooting that lens, I will use the standard black protector from Leica, which is also on my Noctilux in the chrome finish. Now, besides the obvious difference in the coloring and the finish, because a titanium finish is darker than what you have on a chrome finish, what else do we find in terms of differences? Now, first of all, from the optical properties, these lenses are exactly the same. This is the Noctilux 50mm f/0.95. So here we have no differences, and you saw sample images before. But in the finish of the lens, there are a couple of interesting differences which I quickly want to point out. And the first difference I want to quickly illustrate here is the aperture ring. So the aperture ring on the chrome finish has much less resistance when I turn the aperture ring, and that means you can accidentally easily rotate this to an aperture which you don't want to shoot. That is different on the titanium version. On the titanium version, if I rotate the aperture ring with my pointing finger here, I have significantly more resistance before it clicks into a particular aperture. So here we have an f2.8, here we have an f4, and it really has more resistance, which I appreciate, because you will not accidentally end up in an aperture opening which you don't want to have and did not decide for before. The same applies, by the way, also to the focus ring. So here I think on the chrome version, the focus ring is buttery smooth and has actually significant resistance for my taste. But on the titanium version, the resistance is even higher, and it's also buttery smooth, but you need more force to rotate the focus ring, which I also appreciate. And there are these tiny little differences which come from the engineering of these lenses, which you feel if you have it in your hand and operate it. Looking into the lens tube of the chrome finish version of the Noctilux, we find here engraved Leica, then we find Noctilux-M, 1:0.95, of course, 50mm, it's an aspherical lens. We also find the filter thread, which is here an E60, and we find a serial number. That looks different now on the special limited edition, which I'm going to show you. Looking now into the Titan lens here, we have also Noctilux-M, 1:0.95, 50mm, it's an aspherical lens, because as I said, optical properties are exactly the same to the standard version. We also find Leica engraved, and the serial number, and that serial number, by the way, should be the same as what you find in your certificate of authenticity, which I showed before in the video. But then there is the unit number, and that's very typical for very rare, very special Leica limited edition lenses, because you see here we have 100 units worldwide, and my lens actually is the unit number 5, which I appreciate and like a lot, of course. Let me show you another very famous Noctilux lens. So this is the Noctilux-M, 50mm f1.2, and is so far the newest Noctilux lens, which came to market a couple of years ago. Its widest open aperture is an f1.2. Let me open this here. So you see here f1.2, and then you can stop this down all the way to f16. And this lens here also came to market in this particular limited edition. And it's also limited to 100 units worldwide, and it was sold out immediately. And I have here an example, for instance, in the Miami Leica store, where you see this is sold out. And this lens went up like a rocket in the sky in pricing in the secondary market. The most expensive price tag I found for this lens is this one here, where someone really claims $89,000 for this lens. And I personally assume the same will happen also to the Titan Noctilux 50mm f/0.95. In particular, since a lot of people will jump on that lens and want to have it, and my personal assumption is it will be sold out in no time. Putting these two very rare special limited edition Noctilux lenses side by side, on the right hand side the f1.2, on the left hand side the much larger, much more voluminous f/0.95, but limited to the same number of units, namely 100, then as I said, I think the price increase will be comparable and very steep in the secondary market. But this time Leica didn't want that the lens gets, sneaked into hands of people who want to make quick money and earn a multiple of the list price or recommended retail price of these lenses. And if you purchase on the left hand side the Titan Noctilux, you have actually to sign a legally binding repurchase agreement, which means that Leica has the right, if you want to dispose the lens, to step in and purchase the lens from you for the recommended retail price. And I think that's very smart, because these type of lenses, they are so beautiful, so nice, so special from the optical properties, from the finish, from the design, that I personally don't like if people want to make quick money with it. I purchased this lens in order to keep it, and I will also shoot it. I will be careful with shooting and will spare the protectors on the rear and the front side, so the lens cap for instance, of this lens, but I will definitely shoot it and I will keep it. I will never sell this lens. But if people jump on these very special limited edition lenses from Leica and then purchase it, and someone who would love that lens has to pay about a multiple of 5 for that lens, that's just not what Leica will going forward support. That's why you have to sign this legally binding repurchase agreement, and it will block you for at least 2 years, which I think is a good thing to have. It's probably not necessary to mention that the Titan Noctilux here on the left hand side is the fastest lens you can get in the Leica universe, and is a fantastic lens. And the one on the right hand side, the f1.2, I also like a lot because it has a very special character, and I want to conclude the video by sharing a few images from the Noctilux 50mm f1.2, which I actually shot with that special limited edition in order to give you proof of evidence that I do not have them resting on a shelf only behind a lot of glass. I really use these lenses, and the Titan lens I will also use going forward because it's beautiful to have it in hand and to shoot with it widest open, of course, because that's what these lenses are made for. So stay tuned for the little slideshow, and if you liked that video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel, there's always more to come. Thanks for watching, stay safe and healthy, and of course, peace out.